Once you have entered the entire list of CIPs and programs, or for returning members, made changes to a CIP or program name, you are ready to enter your data. There are two methods for entering data: either entering data directly into the portal or uploading your data in an Excel fixed column file, or otherwise known as a flat file. In this video, we will demonstrate how to enter data directly into the portal. For instructions on how to upload your Excel fixed column file, see the video titled Uploading Your Data. Once you have signed in, you will see the home page and gray boxes with each of your programs listed. Click on Edit Form in the gray box of your first program. Notice there are warning messages across the top of the page and elsewhere on the page. These should disappear when all the data has been entered. When you have entered your data, if a warning message or messages remain, there may be an issue with the data. We will get back to that shortly. You will notice there are two white boxes in the upper right-hand corner. The first box, labeled Need Help, will be helpful for first-time participants. Click on the link and it will take you to our website, where you will find definitions and examples on all the required data elements of the study. You will note there are explanations on what the material required is and some examples on this side of the page. The next white box in the upper right-hand corner is a list of all the CIPs you have elected to submit to the study. You have the ability to go from page to page by clicking on the program name that you are looking for. Also in the upper right-hand corner is the Change Study Year. If you would like to see a prior year's program page, click the last year that you participated in any of the prior 3 years, and it will take you to the same program page for that year. Note the year changes when you have changed from a different year. Section 1. Here is your institution's name, Vice code, Carnegie classification, the name of your program, and the CIP associated with that program. In parentheses is the official title assigned to that CIP by the NCES. Please verify this data is correct. Also, make sure to verify the academic calendar for your institution, for example, semester or quarter. The next box is where you will enter degree information. In the first column, we ask that you submit an average of the 3 years listed in the title for first majors only by level of degree. The next column is for an average of the same 3 years for all majors granted by this program. This would include all second and third majors awarded. The total in this column should be equal to or greater than the first majors column. Please refer to the definition page on the website. If this is a non-degree granting program, please check the small box underneath. The next section is for fall semester FTE faculty, student credit hours, and organized class section counts for the programs being reported to the study. Under faculty, FTE faculty total, you will enter the total fall FTE faculty for each type of instructional faculty in this program. You should include all faculty that are paid from the instructional budget, separated by type. Note, there are 2 lines for teaching assistants. The first is for TAs that are the instructor of record, and student credit hours are generated by the classes they teach. The next line is for TAs that are the instructor of record of class, but have no student credit hours generated by those classes. There are cells in the next column titled FTE Faculty Separately Budgeted, which is short for FTE faculty engaged in separately budgeted research or public service work. If part of their salary or salaries of your tenure track or other regular faculty are from grant-sponsored external funds other than the department's instructional budget, then you will enter the FTE count for faculty involved in those separately budgeted activities in these two boxes. The FTE instructional totals for faculty, tenure track, or other regular faculty are then calculated automatically, which you will see in the yellow box section. For example, if two of the faculty have 25% of their salary being funded by a grant, you would put that portion in this cell. 25% of a salary for 2 would be 0.25 plus 0.25 for a total of 0.50. Then the total would calculate automatically. The next section is for fall student credit hours, disaggregated by faculty type. Undergraduate lower division and upper division and individualized instruction. It will then automatically total for your undergraduate student credit hours. Lower division classes are typically your freshman and sophomore classes. Upper division are your junior and senior classes. And any undergrad student credit hours earned through individualized instruction. The same applies for graduate student credit hours. You would enter the data for each faculty type on the line provided. You will note there are no input cells in the student credit hour box for non-credit bearing TAs. There are two small boxes underneath. If some portion of the student credit hour for this program are delivered online as opposed to a physical classroom, please place that subset of the student credit hours reported by faculty type in the appropriate boxes. This is for undergrad, this is for graduate online courses. The last box in this section is for organized class section counts. Again, they are to be disaggregated by faculty type, lower, upper division, and graduate classes. We have also included a column for other than typical lecture classes. For example, lab sections, dissertation, and/or recitation sections. Please remember that individualized instruction student credit hours should not have an organized class section assigned to them. The small box underneath the organized class section is for student credit hours that are strictly devoted to doctoral dissertations and are a subset of the graduate individualized instruction. The last section on this page is for financial data for the academic fiscal year. This should include data for all semesters and terms paid for by the instructional budget of a program, and should include fall and spring data as well as winter or summer session data if those faculty teaching the classes are paid from the instructional budget. This includes student credit hours for the total year and the total subset for online student credit hours. The salaries of all instructional faculty for the program, the benefits amounts for those same FTE, are included in this section. Note, if you are unable to supply a dollar amount for benefits, there is a cell where you can enter the percentage of benefits for your institution. Please enter one or the other. The portal will not accept both. The last cell is for all other than personnel expenditures for this program. Next, we would like to collect the expenditures for the separately budgeted research and public service activity for the fiscal year being collected. Please note, the portal will not accept negative dollar amounts in financial data, as this typically represents a one-time deduction and not the true expenditures for that program. There are two buttons at the bottom of the page. If you have partially entered data, please make sure to click on the Save button before leaving the page. If all your data is entered, again hit the Save button and then click on the Review for Submission button. If red warning messages remain on the page, a text box will appear and will ask if you have verified the data is correct. There is room to explain why the warning messages remain. Next, I will give you some examples. I will enter some data into the portal and show you typical warning messages that may occur. I've entered degree information. I'm going to go to the bottom of the page and hit Save. You will note there's a message here. Since all majors should be either the same or higher than the first major, this message will appear and you will need to adjust your data accordingly. The next section is for faculty counts. In this first column, you are entering your total FTE faculty for the fall. Next, we will enter student credit hours for the fall semester, lower division, upper division, individualized instruction, and grad student credit hours. You will notice the yellow sections total undergrad, grad, and then the total for the whole semester. If I go to the bottom of the page with the data I have inputted and hit Save, you will see warning messages occur. This is because in this section you have FTE faculty, but you have no credit hours or class sections listed for that faculty. In this section, you have entered student credit hours, but you have yet to put in organized class sections. As you continue to add your data to the portal, these messages will disappear unless there is an issue with the data. After you have entered data in the next two boxes, you will notice a lot of red warning messages. This is to let you know, for example, that you have credit hours, graduate credit hours listed in this section, but you have no class sections to correspond with those credit hours. If in fact those credit hours are generated by these labs, you will need to explain that message at the bottom of the page. Or, and as in the case of this, you neglected to put in the class section for these 25 student credit hours. This is to remind you that data is missing. Please remember, anytime you make changes to the portal, it will not take effect until you hit the Save button. As you can see, I made some additional corrections to the data and some of the warning messages have disappeared. If they still remain, when you go down here and click on this Review for Submission, it will tell you. And this box will appear. If you have agreed that the data you have inputted into the portal is correct, you would check this box and simply type in here, for example, the student credit hours are generated by lab sections, and hit save. Even though the messages remain, this will let us know that you have seen these messages and have verified that the data is correct. If you have data for the online credit hours, please input it in the box and uncheck these small boxes saying we do not have this data. The next section contains the total credit hours for the year for undergrad and graduate. This should include all semesters of student credit hours. You will note there are warning messages on the total student credit hours. This is just to notify you that the total number of student credit hours is out of range of what we typically see for a total year, fall and spring semester credit hours. This is referring to that the total graduate student credit hours for the fall was 175. And the total year is 1,200. Typically, it is between 1 to 3 times the fall, but in a lot of cases, there are more spring classes than there are fall. Again, that would be a note you would type in the box once you hit review for submission. In this last section, you will put your salary amounts, the benefits amounts. If you are not able to gather exact dollar benefits amounts, you can put in a percentage and it will calculate and place that number in the benefits expenditures. As most programs have other than personnel expenditures, we would suggest that there should always be an amount in this and it should not be a negative number. If for some reason you are unable to gather that information, please make sure to note that in the text box with your other explanations. Once you are done, you can click on Review for Submission.